Hey, welcome. Who you listening to, podcast listeners? And you know what it is. Welcome to the Who You Listening To podcast with your main man, Marky B. And
Hillary.
on today's episode, we are going to dive into this word called fission. So let's jump right in and talk about fission.
So when talking about the word vision, what does that word mean to you?
That's a really good question. You know what? It made me think for a moment about that when an individual talks about the word vision, I often think about expected outcome or ending. And what's great about a vision is that usually what comes first is the victory, it's the finish line. That's what makes vision so great. So visions to me is a planned, expected outcome that is victorious.
You know, it kind of makes me think, going back to the analogy you used about the finish line.
Yeah.
When you're running a race, you're starting at the finish line. And when you're on that race, that's your journey back to where you started. That vision is like what you start with. Similar to what you said, like that outcome, like that expected outcome. The feeling that you get when you achieve your vision, when you reach that finish line. That's what we're trying to get back to.
What's important, I love that you said that expected outcome and what we're trying to get to, because that's also sometimes a roadblock. It's that when we have a vision, we already get the expected outcome. We already hear the cheers in the background or all the people that will be surrounded by us.
The feelings that we have.
Yeah, the feelings, like the smell of what's going to be, what would it smell like?
Sweet victory.
Right, sweet victory, right? Going back to your race comment, when you think about a race, when you get to the end of the finish line, you cross the tape, you have that overwhelming feeling of satisfaction that you have, I did it, I won. Hear the crowd roar, right? We get all of that when we get a vision because we already have the outcome. And it's like we already go forward to go backwards. Because usually when you have a vision, you go forward first with the outcome and then go back with the plan. But what happens sometimes is we're so stuck with the outcome that in our plan, we plan with the knowing of the outcome, not plan with the knowing of the obstacles. See, because we don't understand that even in a race, there are certain obstacles you have to deal with in order to cross the tape.
So would you say that we get blinded by our vision? And in a way, like being blinded by our vision, which, you know, having your eyes set on your vision is a wonderful thing. It's a great thing. You know, you want to move with a purpose because you know ultimately I'm trying to achieve and accomplish this vision. But in being so mentally wrapped up in the vision and like, oh, I want it to feel like this, I want it to look like this. Like when we're on that journey and when we're on that plan, we get a little blindsided by those obstacles, those roadblocks, those things that are coming our way that we're like, oh, snaps. Like, I'm on the way to the vision, but I didn't expect this. You know, what happened to the happy feelings that I was feeling? So, like, what are your thoughts on that being blinded, being so blinded by the vision that we lose track of like handling or just lose track of the journey itself?
I think about obstacle course when you talk about that.
Okay.
Obstacle course. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, in regards to, I believe it's called a line. It's what you climb on, and it's a zip line, zip line you climb on. So you climb up these different steps, and you prepare to put on the harness, and they teach you how to put on the harness, and they're putting the harness on you. And so you know you have to cross to the other side, but on the ground it looks easy, right? Until you start to climb up, and now it's your turn to get on the harness and to cross on that zip line.
All of a sudden, whoa.
Right?
It don't look so easy no more.
It don't look easy anymore.
I'm
and
scared.
if you like me, heights is a thing, right? And so now you looking at the height. You're looking at how high you are up. Because anytime you're aiming for something, you're going to be higher up. It's going to require something higher out of you. And so you're at a higher ground, because the low things in life, when you're trying to reach something great, it's not at a low level, it's at a higher level. It's requiring something higher out of you. So you're at this higher level, just like you get on the zip line. They put the harness on you to prepare you. And the whole entire time, you're thinking about, well, is it going to be able to hold my weight? This harness don't look like it's going to hold me in here, right?
Ooh, that drop look a little steep.
Right, that drop look a little steep. Like, what? But you already know what's across the air, right?
I just got to get to the other side.
I just got to get to the other side. But it's the obstacle, the mental obstacle, the trusting the zip line that is going to be able to be sturdy enough for you to cross. It's trusting the individual who put the harness on you. So it requires some type of help. Now, in our vision, not always are we going to understand who's going to be helping us. We might have an idea, but we don't have control at times of all the time on who's helping us to cross that finish line and cross the red tape. And so all those different things affect the outcome of the vision. But if we're just so focused on the outcome of the vision, when we start to plan and it doesn't align with how we want it to align, that's where we messed up.
Yeah, I can speak to that personally. You know, as an artist, you know, because I paint, there is oftentimes, let's say use for example the painting with a twist classes.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to the painting with a twist classes. And the thing about the painting with a twist classes is whenever you're booking the class, they already have a pre-finished canvas. And you're like, ooh, that painting looks good. Like, I want to go sign up and I want to take that class because I want paint my painting to look just like that. Or I want to create something that looks like that.
Yeah.
And so you start off with your vision already in mind. You know, and I have a personal story about this I'll share with you. So I love mountains. Like, I've never seen a mountain yet.
But you love it.
But I love it.
Okay.
And I was looking to go to a painting with a twist class one day, and I came across this beautiful canvas that had a picture of a mountain, like the meadow, beautiful sky, sunset. I was like, oh, this is it. Like, that's exactly what I want to paint. And typically, if you've taken the painting with a twist class, you know that the canvases are already pre-drawn. The artists there, they sketch them out. All you have to do is paint. They give you all of your materials. There's an instructor at the front of the class who walks you through how to do each and every step. So everything is pretty much already laid out for you. All you have to do is paint, and they'll come around and help you in things as well. Well, on this particular day of painting with a twist, I get to the painting with a twist class, and you know, I'm going in with the expectation that everything's going to be prepared for me. And I sit at my station and I have a blank canvas in front of me. A blank canvas. And
Not the painting they showed you. Not
the painting they showed me. Nothing pre-drawn.
Just blank.
A blank canvas. And so I'm like internally freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, because what in the world did I sign up for? I've never painted a landscape before. I saw this beautiful sunset, this beautiful painting, this beautiful mountain. You know, I want mine to look just like that one. And you are giving me a blank canvas and telling me to just paint. To just paint. And it definitely like shocked me. I had the vision, but when it came time to actually work through the process, the mental part, similar to what you said, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. I've never done anything like this before.
And what in that moment did you feel like moving forward, or talking to the instructor like, hey, yo, like, can we get that painting to be a little bit closer?
Yeah, so I actually spoke with the instructor. I raised my hand. I was like, excuse me, ma'am. This canvas doesn't have anything on it. Like, did I get a blank one? Did I get a wrong one? Like, what happened with it? Like, this doesn't happen. She was like, yeah, we're going to just do it together, freehand. I was like, I've never...
It's not what we signed up for.
Yeah, that's not painting with a twist. Like, oh, we got a twist tonight for sure. Like, but I say all that to say that oftentimes we have a vision, an end goal that we are trying to accomplish. And the painting came out beautiful. Spoiler alert, it came out beautiful. But like, we have this vision.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, whenever we begin the journey to accomplish the vision, to achieve that vision, to get there, we're going to be met with roadblocks and obstacles, things that we didn't foresee. We can have all the tools that we need, all the assistance that we need, but we're going to be met with different roadblocks and obstacles that we didn't see happening. And oftentimes, like, that can discourage you or deter you from pursuing that vision, because you're like, well, actually, maybe I'm not equipped for this.
Wow.
Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I kind of overestimated my abilities on this one. But then you start doing it. You pick up that paintbrush and you dip it in your color and you put your first mark on the paper.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm starting to see this come to life.
It makes me ask this question as well as, well, what obligation do we have to stick to the plan? Like, what obligation do we have to stick to the plan? Because, in part, as even our listeners are listening to right now, is, well, a vision has come to mind. Just even personally for myself, a vision has come to mind. And maybe even for the listeners, a vision has come to mind. A vision that you have or know of a person who has a vision, or maybe collectively you're having a vision with someone else, as a partner, a friend, or a business partner, a vision. And getting to the point of like, well, do I even have an obligation? Am I obligated to stick to this plan? At what point do I not stick to the plan?
I think in a way, there's two different ways that we can explore an answer to that question. And one of them would be kind of like your own willpower, like that challenge to yourself to say like, okay, yeah, this is difficult, but I think I can do it. I'm going to challenge myself to do it. And the other one I would say is that belief factor. The power of belief. How important belief is.
Speak on it.
Because if you don't believe in your vision, when those obstacles come your way, you're easily going to be like, I'm piecing out of this. I don't believe in it that much. I don't believe in myself that much.
Yeah. Recap that for them again, because that's powerful what those two things you said. Recap that for them again.
So the willpower and the want and the drive to continue even when it's hard, even when it's not really going in your favor, when that obstacle is thrown your way, and that belief enough in your vision and the belief enough in yourself to keep going.
So it's almost, if we want to sum it up in one word to even your first point, and willpower is high risk tolerance. In order to stick to the plan, in order to accomplish your vision, you have to have a high risk tolerance. You have to be able to handle certain difficulties that come along the pathway. Certain unexpected things that happen that you didn't ever plan for. Those inconveniences, throughout the day, even in life, that personally just come up more than just the plan in life. Unexpected inconveniences happen that we didn't plan for.
And knowing how to navigate through them to get to the other side. Because you can have a high risk tolerance, like, oh, I can acknowledge this challenge. But what skills are you going to pull from? What place are you going to pull from to not only acknowledge it and accept it, but problem solve to get through it?
Yeah. Because that problem solving is so important. Because part of the problem solving is acknowledging that it's even there. Like the obstacle is even there. See, sometimes we think acknowledging the obstacle is by taking a step back or saying, you know what, this is a sign we shouldn't stick to the plan. To acknowledging and assessing that it's there and what you can do to work around it being there. It's that full reflection, it's that assessment part as well. One, to acknowledge. One, to assess what you have around you, what you have in you. Who you have with you. Who's on your side. And how moving across this obstacle will get you there. See, the obstacle is a movement. It's a shift to get you to where you're going. So when you're able to examine it in that type of way, you no longer see it as an inconvenience, but as a step to help you move closer to the finish line.
And that brings up a really great point. Something else that I thought about is visions, and working towards your vision is going to require some humility, and it's going to require you to relinquish some control.
Ooh, speak on that control now. Speak on that control.
Oh,
speak
I'm
on
the
that.
person to do it.
Speak on that control now. Somebody's like, oh, she hit on that control.
Yes. It's going to require you to relinquish some control. Because naturally when we have a vision, what comes after we have a vision? I'm going to create my plan. I want it to look just like this. I want it to feel like this. I want to meet these people. I'm going to complete in this timeline. I'm going to go to this place when I do it. We start putting together our plan.
Oh, yeah.
And now I see why it says that God laughs at the plans of man. Because when we actually start navigating towards
our own
vision,
little plan.
we have our little plan in mind, and then boop, we get hit with that first roadblock, and it's like, oh, this is completely thrown off my plan. It's like you can get frazzled at that first step. It's like, oh no, have mercy. Have mercy. I didn't plan for that.
I like how you say I didn't plan for that.
I didn't plan for that.
Key, I didn't plan for
This
it.
wasn't in my plans. This wasn't supposed to happen. And how you know that? How do you know that?
And why is that our response? Why is that sometimes our response? I did it. Like we tell on ourselves sometimes in a sense, like I didn't plan for that. I didn't plan. Like, so this was your own plan. So we don't need to have a long prayer discussion about this. We don't have to have a long meeting discussion about this. So you came up with the plan, right? And see, that gets into another part of like, so vision board. Because somebody's out there saying, like, what's the purpose of a vision board then? What's the purpose of me coming up with a plan? Am I not supposed to be coming up with a plan? And remember, we had a discussion. We had a discussion about this. So like, what if individuals just feeling like that? Because that is very true. It's very common. Somebody's been told either at church, either at a business meeting, at a conference, anywhere, oh, vision board. Vision board. Oh, you're not getting anywhere because you didn't write it down. Write the vision down. Make the plain. Though it may tarry, it will come to pass. Yeah. Like, and so you've done all those things. Maybe you're in just the first phase and you've completed that. And you're like, now you're telling me something else different. Are you?
It becomes a little discouraging sometimes, depending on the level of severity, of course,
Right.
when our plan starts looking a lot different from our vision.
Yeah.
Like, is this actually, is the plan that I'm on right now actually going to lead me to my vision? That expected outcome.
Wow.
And that's why relinquishing that control is so important. Having that high risk tolerance, having that belief, because instead of looking at your obstacles as deterrents from your vision, you start looking at them as opportunities. This is an opportunity for me to like use this in some way, because nothing will be wasted. Using this opportunity in a way to help push me further along.
Yeah.
Being able to have discernment to say, okay, well, is this obstacle an opportunity or is it a distraction?
Ooh, before you move forward, pause right now, because somebody needs to go ahead and to decide. Go ahead and write it out. Take that time to write it out. Is this an opportunity or distraction? Because you can't move forward without having understanding that. That's going to take some prayer. That's going to take some deep reflection on, because you really need to know if it's opportunity or distraction.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to travel down a far road of distraction. Nor do you want to miss opportunity.
No. And there are some like reflection questions that you can ask to further lead you to your answer. Like, of course, you should be seeking prayer above all things.
Yeah.
And asking God to gift you with the spirit of discernment, so that like He can tell you like, okay, yeah, this is an opportunity. This is a part of the course, or this is a distraction. This is not aligned. And the biggest point there, or the biggest reflection question, is this aligned with my ultimate goal? Is this aligned? Is this going to draw me closer to my goal, or is this going to pull me further away? Now, life always has a way, even with all of our visions and plans, life always has a way of course correcting us and getting us back on track. But sometimes it can take a little longer if we dibble dabble in our distractions a lot more. And so starting from the beginning, once you come across that roadblock, when you come across that person, that opportunity, whatever it is, whatever you come across, asking yourself, is this going to be an opportunity to help me advance towards my vision and my goal? Or is this going to be something that distracts me and pulls me further away from it? And being honest, because honesty is going to be important in that. Because our feelings are going to be deceitful. Those distractions be looking fun. Okay? Those distractions, like, this is a good time.
I mean, F-U-N, fun.
Okay? The distractions, they are meant to distract you, and they're going to pull you away. And it's like, oh, yeah, girl, you working so hard on this. You can take a break. Come on, we going over here. We spending money over here. But you know that's money that you need to get further along to your vision.
Right.
You know that 30 minutes, hour, week, or whatever that I'm spending over here on my distraction, I'm missing meetings over here.
Right.
I'm missing deadlines over here. And so it seriously becomes a question of like, is this pulling me away from what I'm trying to accomplish? Or is it moving me closer to what I'm trying to accomplish?
And then even with that, one must ask himself, am I the roadblock to my vision? Am I the distraction?
That's humbling.
Yeah, like, am I the distraction? That's really like, sometimes the question that needs to be asked, am I the distraction? It's not anybody else, it's I may be the distraction. I may be limiting myself from where that vision has in store for me. I may be the distraction.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. There's a book actually on my to-read list called The Mountain Is You. The Mountain Is You. Because oftentimes, whenever we get off track, we like to point fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it wasn't because of this, or if I had this, or if this person didn't, sometimes the mountain is you.
Yeah.
And then what do you do then? How do you course correct then? When you have to self-reflect.
Well, it just made me think when you said that in this moment too is, you said, what do you think then? And see, we always talk about, me and you talk about, and I love that we have that in our conversations that we have with each other as well, is let's get to the root.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And maybe the different things that may be frustrating is that the problem is you.
Mm-hmm.
Like the distraction is you.
Mm-hmm.
You are the roadblock. And trying to figure out, how did you become the roadblock?
Mm-hmm.
Where did it start? And that goes back to that truth. But it's but it's finding a way to come to peace with it.
Yeah.
See, the issue is not that it may be you. The issue is, what are you going to do about it?
Because that happens. It happens. Like, we are our own worst enemies sometimes. We get in our own way. But that's why grace is so important.
Yeah.
Giving yourself grace after you stand in your own way. And then saying, okay, I'm going to choose to be better.
You know, talking about books, that's why I love that book called The Last Arrow.
Mm.
Last Arrow, I love it because in the chapters I've been reading, the writer talks about living his life in such a way where he gets rid of all his arrows.
Mm.
Stop trying to save arrows. You know, I think about it like this. When I was younger, especially when I watch a sports game or watch any type of major event that I really liked, I had my food, I had it set out. My folks would tell you, like, I wouldn't touch my food until it got close to game time because it was so special to have it close to game time. I don't know what it is. The food getting cold, it's all right. Fries still gonna taste the same, I feel like. Ketchup still gonna be good, guys. So I'm all ready to eat. I'm ready to smash. I'm still saving pieces because it's 4 quarters in the game. Like, I'm still saving pieces, all because I'm thinking, as you get closer to the end of the game, the bite's going to be even more savory.
Mm.
Not knowing I may get tired before it gets to the end of the game. I may not want that food anymore before it gets to the end of the game. Now it takes longer for the food to digest because I waited that long. It might be close to my bedtime.
Are you depriving yourself of that experience of having this great tasty meal? Right, because you're so worried about saving it for, I want to watch it during the game, or eat it during the game.
Save it for a certain time. Who knows what time, right? Like, who knows what time? I'm saving for a certain time. I mean, mom, or not even mom, I could have cooked, or you could have cooked something in the oven. Like, I love cookies, so it could have been cookies, it could have been a pie, it could have been something like that. And I'm missing out on the experience because I'm trying to save the last fry, and now I'm still trying to eat the pie and stuff. Like, that's what happens though. Ooh, thank you. So that's what happens, is that sometimes we do that in life, and something is already baking in the oven that you're close to, but you can't get to it because you're still saving arrows.
Ooh.
Now that one hit right there. You still saving arrows right there.
I had to
Right. You still saving arrows. I got something baking in the oven for you, but you still saving arrows. And then when you finally get to it, you saying, Lord, this ain't for me. This ain't meant to be. Why it don't taste that sweet? Because you've been waiting and you've been saving arrows.
He's been a long time ago.
right. You're like, I've been having the oven. It's been baking. It's been baking. You wonder why it ain't that sweet.
Wow, that's a point. That's a point.
And it's like going back to the vision. Why are you saving arrows?
Trying to be in control.
Being in control. Oh. All you had to do was just believe. Why are you still saving arrows? Why are you still saving people that should have been already off the list? Like, why are you still saving arrows? Why are you still saving this contact in your contact list that you don't even contact? Like, why are you still saving arrows?
Why are you still pondering on past situations?
Saving arrows.
Are y'all still here?
Right.
Y'all clicked off here?
Right.
Because it's getting a little hot.
Right. It's a little steamy right here, right? But it's like, why are you still saving arrows? And see, that's the point where it becomes even powerful. See, because at times when we even have these discussions, we at first start talking about others, but then how the Lord wants it to work, or how not only the Lord wants to work, but how life should work, where it comes to ultimately you. Because sometimes we're good at seeing others, as you said. We're not seeing who.
That's that humility part.
That's why it's key, once again, who you listening to. Because who you listen to will always point you back to you. It will point you back to you. Because saving arrows won't get you to the red tape. It's like today I had a conversation with an individual, and they was talking about all these ideas, amazing artists as well, and saving arrows. And we speak about this and heard this before, but the most beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places, is the graveyard. A lot of people with beautiful ideas, beautiful personalities, beautiful spirit, beautiful gifts. And some of them were still saving the last arrow. We talk about Hamilton. We watch Hamilton and Aaron Burr. Wait for it. Still wait for it. Saving arrows.
Had a vision.
Right. And then thought he had to eliminate Hamilton, right? Yeah, that's what he said at the end. He found out that it was enough room for both of them. Ooh. And are you saving arrows because you think it's not enough room for you or somebody else?
Are you?
Like, what's the hang up? Like, because you gotta let that arrow go.
What are you waiting on?
The target is right there. And you have the best shot. Because it was your vision. It was given to you.
And realizing your path is not going to look like everyone else's.
That's the tough thing.
Oh, so-and-so is doing exactly what I want to do.
Oh, Lord.
Well, what did they do? You know, those things are fine sometimes to kind of see, like, you know, their journey. Maybe there may be some similarities in your journey, in your path, but your path is not going to look like everyone else's.
And being able to stand your ground with your path. There will be tons of people who will have tons of opinions. Take the meat, leave the bones. Take the meat and leave the bones. And if you're able to have that honest reflection with yourself, you'll be able to take the meat and leave the bones. And to stick to the plan. Stick to what you already know. Stick to the choice that has already been given to you.
Deciding whether it's an opportunity or a distraction. Is this something that somebody's just saying to kind of like throw me off my course? Are they just projecting their fears onto me? Are they projecting their expectations onto me? Or is this like quality counsel that is going to advance me further?
Right.
Which one is it? Using that or being gifted that discernment to be able to tell the difference.
And that hints on something else. Discernment is a gift. Discernment is a gift.
Why is it a gift, Marcus? Why is it a gift?
Because it will allow you to decisively make a decision with purpose.
Oh.
Yeah. With purpose.
Okay.
Right. Right. Right.
Give me a shout.
Right. It's that inner me
Oh.
helping me be a better me. Can we just last one? Can we stand on that, right?
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes we look at the outer than the inner. Let that just sink in.
We gotta simmer on that one for a second.
Let that sink in. That's discernment.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's discernment.
And that key part in there that caught me was purpose.
Yeah.
Because your vision is your purpose. Like, what am I working towards? What's my purpose?
But who would know your purpose other than the inner you? See, the inner you is not working against you. It's you. It's that other self-talk, that doubt
That
talk.
little voice.
That little voice. It's that outside stuff. The inner us already knows us. It's got to sleep with us. Like, it knows us to our very core.
It wants the best for us.
Right. But we at times fight against it.
Mm-hmm. The doubts, the fears, our own expectations. Oh, what's so-and-so gonna think? Well, they did this already. This not new. This not original. You know how many podcasts out there?
Right.
You know how many people talking? You know how many people having conversations?
You know how many opinions are there? Like, it's always opinions.
Like, people are talking. People have podcasts, but like, should that stop us just because somebody else doing it?
No.
Should it stop us just because maybe we don't have like thousands and millions of viewers? Should that stop us just because, I don't know, whatever?
Right. I mean, doesn't everybody have to have a start? And sometimes it makes me wonder, why are we talking about everybody else's start and we haven't even got started ourselves? We'll move past
We'll
that.
talk about that next week.
That'd be too hot. That'd be too hot. Because we spend consuming hours on somebody else's dream and somebody else's, and we talk about their start, and there's nothing wrong with having different points that you may try to do differently, but you haven't got started yourself. But going back to that discernment, if you had discernment, you wouldn't even acknowledge that. You would have used that as your chance to take notes.
Mm-hmm. Vision.
It's that outcome. You know, it makes me think about Joseph.
Tell us about Joseph.
So Joseph had a dream. Joseph was this young individual who had this great dream about who he was to become. And see, sometimes when we get this great dream of who we're supposed to become, the vision, it comes in different ways. You could be working for UPS at the time, be on the assembly line, and you can get that dream. You can be sleeping and get that dream. You can be anywhere and get the dream, but once you get that dream, you never forget when you first get the dream, that vision came to life. You never forget it. And see, that's the thing. Once it comes to life, then that's when other stuff come to life to fight against that dream. So my main man, Joseph, he had this dream, and this massive dream. And what he didn't understand as he had this dream, all of a sudden you get so emboldened to tell everybody else about your dream.
Right in your mouth.
That dream talk, right? That dream talk.
Because you be so excited about it. I gotta share the good news with somebody.
With everybody.
Marky B, let me tell you about the dream I had.
Right. Because everybody, what's the crazy thing is, people are good at listening. People are good at listening to your dream, so you can talk more about your dream and they don't even have an investment. they're good at listening to your dream. Get that? They're good at listening to your dream without investment. And the problem is when you have individuals who are good at listening to your dream without investment, they are not going to help you to reach your dream because they have no investment. So if there's something that you need to work on in that dream to get you to that dream, they have no investment. So they won't correct you because they're good at listening.
So what else? What happened with Joseph? Like what? He had this dream of who he was set to become.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming he started talking.
Yeah, he started talking, and with him talking, he had siblings who thought Joseph was too puffed up.
That's your haters talking.
Sometimes even in the family. So they thought he was too puffed up. They thought, nah, man, this brother right here, he's a problem to the family.
He think he better than us.
Right, he think he better than us. He's the youngest sibling, right? He's the youngest sibling.
Talking about who he about to be.
And leading and all this and that.
And I'm gonna be who and what?
Right.
What about me?
Right. And they sold him. You want to put it into frame it another way. They let him go. They let them go. Let him go. The very people that were supposed to protect him let him go.
Are the very same people he expected to believe in his dream?
Let him go.
They let him go.
And is that why you might have stopped dreaming? Because somebody didn't believe and just let you go. They let you go and stay out there in the hallways for too long and start to skip class because the more and more time you allocated on believing in your dream meant that they wouldn't have you around. The more and more a person held you so close and distracted you so much meant that they could keep you in their arms, to keep you at a grasp's length. How dare you act like you're better than us? How dare you strive for this goal? Or because they didn't really understand it fully, and you wanted them to understand it fully. It's something about, at times, we want people to understand it fully when we have these dreams, when they were never given the dream. Why is that? That we've been given the dream, and at times, we want those who were never given the dream to understand it.
I guess because in a way, we're seeking that support or that validation.
Wow, speak to it.
I believe in this so much. I know that if I work at it, it's going to come to pass.
Right.
I want you to be excited for me too. I want you to be bought into it too. Don't you see I'm excited about this?
Right.
Don't you see that this is going to cause all of us to win? Don't you want the best for me?
Right.
Validate me, support me, believe in me.
It makes me think about, as a little child, those who may have grew up with as being that child and also having a sibling who was, or knowing somebody that was, that always had an imaginary friend. And nobody could tell them otherwise that they didn't have that imaginary friend. But they would tell people, don't you see my imaginary friend, whoever that is? Don't you see them right there? And you may not see them. You're like, oh yeah, they're right there. Or you may be like, nobody's right there, right? But the face when that individual says, says, nobody's there, the child's face. That's sometimes us as individuals when an individual says, that dream's not there. You on TV? What?
You want to be on TV?
More so, you struggle speaking.
Yeah, they start pointing out all your flaws and the things that oh, so this is going to be the thing that holds you back. You want to do this, but you can't even do this.
Your vocabulary is limited right now. I don't know if TV is for you. Like,
You may want to shoot a little smaller. Well,
I
got a vision to be on TV. Why I got to shoot smaller than that?
Were they given the vision? The vision just had the outcome. It didn't say that your vocabulary won't get better over time. It didn't say that maybe it is the way you talk, people love it. Vision. So it's very key for that.
Your vision is important, but your journey is equally important. Relinquishing that control, possessing that gift of discernment, keeping your mouth closed,
Yeah.
believing in yourself, having that high risk tolerance to persevere and to push through to get to your vision. Analyzing yourself, is the mountain me? Am I standing in my own way of my vision?
Wow.
And giving yourself grace through it all. Because every day you're not going to be hitting the ground ready to work at it. You're not. You're going to have your days where you fall off. You're going to have your days where that little voice gets a little too loud. You're going to have your days where you're seeking validation. You're going to have days where you're like, maybe my belief is a little low. My patience is a little low. I don't feel qualified for this. But still saying man, that vision, I see that for myself. It's been given to me. I have what it takes, and I'm going to develop even more of what it takes to accomplish it.
Well, as we always do, let's provide them with these tools. I'll first start off by saying, in order to get to your vision, you got to have steadfast belief. Steadfast belief doesn't mean you don't have doubt at times. It just means that in the midst of doubt, you decide to believe anyways. What would you say?
Kind of going back to the points that we just discussed, I would say analyzing or relinquishing your control. Realizing that just because you have a vision and you may have drafted down this foolproof plan does not necessarily mean it's going to happen in the way that you want it to happen. The only thing, for the most part, that's guaranteed is your vision.
Yeah.
Relinquish that control.
Yeah. No more saving arrows. No more saving up for another time. Go after it. Go after with clarity, with purpose, and with a conviction and a humble spirit. That's the key.
Yeah. And all in all, give yourself grace through it. Don't forget that vision, but give yourself grace through it.
Grace is very important. Grace is very important. Once again, it was great talking with you guys today. We probably could go on and on for even more hours. However, we thank you for once again listening to Who You Listening To podcast with your main man, Marky B and
Hillary.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great one and talk to you guys next time. Bye.